Wanting to feel belonging and acceptance is human nature. We need to feel our existence matters and that we're of value to this world. While belongingness is essential, needing approval is different because the validation from approval is based on external factors. Yet, with mass media and society often conditioned our minds to focus on materialistic things, fame and follower counts, and the latest trends to follow, we're habituated to build our worth to seek approval from external things. While there's nothing wrong with self-expression in your most preferred way, what matters is our inner world. Are we seeking fulfillment in what we can provide to the world in our unique expression? Or are we chasing external approval to validate our worth? In this video, we'll go over why so many people suffer from approval addiction, its causes and impacts, and how to break free to be authentic. Stay tuned. Having approval addiction can greatly impact a person's mental health, relationships, and many other aspects of life. Approval addicts often have symptoms of indecisiveness with difficulties making decisions, people-pleasing behaviors, put other people's needs above their own, fear of feedback, criticisms, and judgments, terrified of rejections, emotionally reactive, and overly sensitive, struggle to form opinions and speak their minds, difficulties to assert one's boundaries, apologize too often or when it's not even their responsibilities, go along to get along, even if it's out of alignment with their values, only presents a perfect image, unable to be vulnerable and feel safe to be their authentic selves. All these symptoms further reinforce their low self-esteem. Do you struggle with any of these symptoms? This list is not to shame approval addicts, but to increase self-awareness and understanding. Neural pathway and approval addiction. When we form a habit, our brain creates a neural pathway to support that habit. And when we repeat the habit over and over, we strengthen that neural pathway and it becomes part of our self-identity. Addiction is formed when a person repeatedly engages in an activity that feeds the pleasure centers of the brain to activate dopamine, a happy hormone that makes us feel good. This means through using alcohol, drugs, sex or porn, food, exercise, shopping, or other forms of external activities or substances, the person was able to get the temporary pleasure they want that helps them distract their internal state of being. Approval addiction has similar effects where the person seeks external sources to activate their dopamine for that pleasure sensation. But deep down, they remain hollow and need more to fill in the empty void. A good book to read to rewire your brain for positive reinforcement is Atomic Habits by James Clear. His book talks extensively about how habits are formed and some effective ways to rewire the brain. Since our brain have neuroplasticity qualities where we can form new neurons and clear out gray matter every night when we sleep, we are capable to change our approval addiction when we understand the origin of why we escaped the void in the first place. Childhood experiences. People who struggle with approval addiction often come from a family background where their sense of well-being is unstable, which cause them to form unhealthy attachments with people. From childhood, they may have caregivers who taught them their worth is based on what they do according to the caregiver's standards instead of their own. They're approved to follow and conform, and punished for not adhering to the rules. They likely have painful experiences where they're being rejected, mocked, or even bullied to be authentic or assert themselves. Children at a young age need to feel a sense of belonging to develop a sense of self. But if they grow up in an unsupportive or toxic environment that doesn't value them as who they are, they will likely suffer from some form of addiction to avoid confronting the deep inner pain. Just like all other addicts who wants to break the addiction cycle, approval addicts must first come to awareness of the negative impacts of their actions, have strong desire to change, and do whatever it takes to make the change. Now let's go over some ways to break free from approval addiction and build a stronger sense of self. The first one, start validating yourself internally. To think critically on our own is to start validating our experience from within ourselves. This includes acknowledging both our positive and negative feelings to process them, observing our thoughts objectively, and being willing to face our triggers, understand the message behind them. While it may be helpful to seek the opinions of others from different perspectives, inner validation needs to be in place to establish a strong sense of self. And being mindful of the present moment will allow the person to be in touch with their body's wisdom for answers. 2. Reprogram your subconscious mind. Many of us did not go through development in our childhood that help us create a strong internal validation experience. Our sense of self is often built upon other people's values, beliefs, and social norms. Our reality reflects what we believe on a subconscious level. So if we're not living a reality that reflects our core self, it's time to reprogram our subconscious mind. This can be seeking a professional therapist, reciting positive affirmations with positive emotions, and using journal therapy for organizing our thoughts, self-reflection, and maintaining mental health. The third point, focus on your growth. The need to seek approval externally to feel safe and worthy causes many people to be overly reactive and dependent on outside factors. This insecurity often causes the person to use control, manipulation, and force to make other people's actions comply with their standards. Not only this makes the approval addict vulnerable, but it also causes them to spend way too much of their energy and attention on people that cannot be controlled and are apathetic in their growth. Maturity starts when you realize you are powerless to control others. Only when you learn to place attention back on bettering yourself, then you can start to see positive changes in your life. The fourth point, seek positive connections. More often, people suffering from approval addiction are likely to be involved in a relationship that has no stability, assurance, or consistency. This causes them to feel insecure, uncertain, and confused about themselves in the relationship. Thus, the person will need to use more time and energy to reinforce stability to ensure their place in a relationship. Not only is this a big waste of time and energy, but the person is also depriving themselves of a healthy relationship that is built on trust, where one can feel safe and free to expand themselves and grow together. This is where the person needs to discern how they want to spend their time and make a conscious choice on whether 1. They want to stay in a relationship that requires them to save, fix, or constantly explain themselves to make the relationship work, or 2. They can seek positive connections where safety and security are in place, and they can enjoy being vulnerable and supported as their foundation. In the end, approval addiction is not permanent, and it usually becomes less impactful as one starts to grow spiritual maturity with less emotional dependence on others. The great thing about approving yourself based on your authenticity allows you to attract your tribe based on your values, instead of you bending like a pretzel to please others. With positive habits in place that were discussed previously, one can build a healthy sense of self without the need for external approval, and be able to see other people's remarks as personal opinions, ideas, and feedback that can be considered. Hope you find this video helpful and see that the magic you've been seeking is already within you. Please like the video to help spread awareness and subscribe to our channel for more. Until next time, take care and we'll see you in the next video.